questions. Our last two friends from the media. From Glitz PH, we have MJ De Leon. Hi, MJ. Kindly turn your camera
Yes.
on. Hi.
Hello.
Okay, we see
Yeah.
you.
Sorry.
Hello.
I'm sorry. Connection is kind of unstable. The question is it's for Leia. I'm sure, Miss Leia. I'm sure you've been asked this question a lot of times, but the movie revolves around illegal immigration, and my question is, have you had real encounters with illegal immigrants, and how was your experience?
Um, well, most of my family immigrated to the US and to Canada legally. Um, but yeah, I mean, there are whispers and there are hushed conversations about who is, who are in the country of getting in or who got in legally but overstayed. So, I think everybody knows at least one person who has gone through that sort of immigration experience. I have a green card and I gained it via a pathway called being an alien of extraordinary ability, and my immigration lawyer um, took advantage of that pathway, and so I was able to gain residency in the U.S. thanks to that, and thanks to Miss Saigon, because it was such a high-profile musical. Um, it didn't take too much convincing for immigration authorities to give me my green card, um, which I have to renew every 10 years. So yeah. So I mean, I guess everybody. It's hard to talk about illegal immigration because I don't want to out anybody. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think everybody knows at least one person that has been through this, and you understand the stress and the pressure and the fear, and it's very, very real. The fear of being discovered, the fear of getting found out, the fear of losing face if they ever get a deportation letter. Um, so yeah, it's the fear is real, and it's very much portrayed in Yellow Rose. So I think a lot of Filipinos and Filipino Americans that have seen it recognize what that is and how real that is, and so are able to feel a great deal of empathy for what Rose and her mother have to endure, during the course of the film.
I see. Okay, thank you. My next question is both for Miss Leia and Miss Diane. The movie has been to a lot of international film festivals, and how does it feel that finally it's here in the Philippines and it will be shown in such an extraordinary time during the pandemic and quarantine pack?
Okay, I'm gonna let Diane take this one.
Thanks, girl.
Go for it.
I am so thrilled. My brother and my sister-in-law and my nephews live there, and so many of my relatives live there. Everyone's really been waiting for this film to come out, but um, my goal in making this film was to make a Filipino American film, and so it really is a film that lives in between these two worlds and in its own world where those two meet. So I think it's just very exciting to present the film in the Philippines, and I hope people will find some sympathy for those relatives and for those friends who are abroad, and gain a little bit of insight of what's going on with them there. I think there's such a sort of maybe sometimes idealized version of what it's like when you come to America, and there is that experience, but for many, I almost might say most, it's not what you think. So, but at the same time, I want to keep stressing that the film is a family film. It's an uplifting film. It's a film that talks about the power of music and the power of empathy and the power of a community to come around somebody who is in stress. And it's like I said before, it is like A Star Is Born. So I do hope people embrace it. There was a lot of lolas and titas and young people and young women and young men crying a lot Filipinos here in the States. So I hope they embrace it in the same way in the Philippines.
Can I just add? I think one of the things that was really touching when we were touching and also very real was that when we were showing the film at these festivals, or even Diane and I went to a theater on opening weekend, we actually, some people would come to us after the screening and confidentially tell us that they too were undocumented. And that when they saw this story on screen, they felt that their story was reflected. They thought that they felt that their challenge was very validated and seen, and not just something that was swept under the rug here in the States. So whenever we were in those situations, that we were able to connect with the people who this story was not, I don't want to say meant for, but portrays. I thought that was a very real moment, and I hope that that's also something that people will be able to uncover and learn more after they watch the film.
I see. Thank you. VJ, am I allowed a third question?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick one for Miss Lea, because I saw the reviews, and the music in the film is mostly country. I'm kind of curious, what are your personal feelings towards country music?
I think there has been actually a lot of country music that's made it to the Philippines. I mean, we know who Kenny Rogers is. We know who Dolly Parton is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are iconic. I mean, I remember hearing Crystal Gayle's voice as a young kid. So, and I think Olivia Newton-John has won a Grammy for country music. So, and she was one of my major influences as a vocalist. So, I guess in a weird way, I've listened to it without realizing that I was listening to it. Music was just always music. If I liked it, full stop. That was it. The music in the film, I think it's music that people will relate to. It's beautiful. It's heartfelt. It's real. It's not always pretty, but neither is life. So, and everything that Eva sings in the film, in her character's journey to be a country music singer, it's heart on sleeve sort of music. And I mean, that's what I know it to be. I remember, what movie did I see? Coal Miner's Daughter. I remember being brought to the cinema to watch Sissy Spacek playing Loretta Lynn. And and it was a huge hit. And I remember just being bowled over and loving the music in that. So I think a lot of folks here that do love music will fall in love with the music here, and will, and as American as country music is, it's such an American genre. I think folks here, with our music being so characteristically heart on sleeve as well, I think we'll be able to really dig the music in the soundtrack and dig the music in the film.
I see. Okay. Miss BJ, sorry, just one last for Miss Lea, because in her Inquirer column backstory, she wrote, with a column titled Silver Linings, you wrote about how to be your own recording engineer, cameraman, and lighting designer during the quarantine and pandemic. Would love to know more about it.
Well, without taking too much of your time, it's basically, you start to thank you YouTube for all of the tutorials that are available. I mean, I learned how to like myself for doing a lot of the self-made recordings. Thanks to technology for advancing the selfie cameras to be as amazing as they are. I mean, I'm using my laptop now, but when I film using my cell phones, it's like it's broadcast quality, and there are apps that where you can change, you know, your FPS. It's like, what? You can change your frames per second with your selfie camera. And the quality then becomes much more cinematic. And there are people who, on streaming platforms, that have made full-length movies with their iPhones. It's
With an iPhone.
nuts. It's nuts. At what is possible is crazy. But I have had to learn how to use my cameras for that. I have had to learn, because I've had to record a few spoken and sung projects here at home in my closet. So I've had to learn how to use GarageBand and Logic. And yeah, so I have a greater respect for the people that have to do all of these things professionally. You know, cinematographers, directors of photography, recording engineers, sound designers. It's like you gain a greater appreciation for what they do and a greater understanding of what it is that they do. So it's much more easy to empathize with folks in their creative fields that are very different from my own. So yeah, so it's this is why there are Oscars given to these people. This is why they have to deserve and win these awards, because it's a difficult job. It's a difficult field, and for people like our DP on Yellow Rose, who made it just look so easy. But when I saw the film, I was like, what? And it was a handheld, you know, he was holding the camera, and he just made it look like it was nothing. And then I see the finished product and I'm like, oh my God, he is fantastic. Just, and used a lot of natural light, and, you know, and stuff in silhouette, stuff using the sun. So we were always chasing the sun, I think, when we were filming this, unless it was indoors. But yeah, he was fantastic. And yeah, Diane can tell you more about him, but yeah, I gained a greater respect for what folks like him are able to do.